What if I told you there is a place on this earth where the sky isn't just above you, it wraps around you? Where a single afternoon can take you from a sun-scorched desert canyon to the silent roar of a snowstorm above the clouds. Where ancient forests whisper stories older than civilization. And the mountains don't just stand, they breathe. And here's the part that will absolutely blow your mind. This place is real. It's not a fantasy, not a painting, not a CGI backdrop from a Hollywood blockbuster. It exists right now, and it's been sitting there waiting for you at the very heart of the United States of America. It's the name Colorado. Today, we're taking you on an extraordinary journey through the most breathtaking, most mysterious, and most wildly misunderstood state in America. You think you know Colorado? You've seen the ski resorts, maybe the weed dispensaries, maybe the Denver airport with that creepy horse statue outside. But I promise you, what you're about to discover will shatter every single thing you thought you knew about this place. Stay with me, because the best part, we haven't even started yet. Let's start here. Look at a map of Colorado from space. What do you see? A perfect rectangle. Straight lines. Neat, organized, almost mathematical, like someone drew it with a ruler. But the moment you zoom in, the orderly rectangle becomes something else entirely. Something wild, something untamed. Colorado covers over 104,000 square miles. To put that into perspective, that's bigger than the entire United Kingdom, bigger than Germany. You could fit the Netherlands inside it 9 times over. And within those borders, almost every landscape type on planet Earth is represented. In the east, the Great Plains stretch endlessly like a golden ocean. Flat, wide, and hauntingly beautiful. Windswept grasslands where buffalo once thundered in the millions, and where pioneer wagon trails still scar the earth. Then as you drive west, something happens. The horizon begins to bump. Then it rises. Then it surges upward. And suddenly you're staring at the most dramatic mountain range in North America, the Rocky Mountains. Colorado has 53 mountains above 14,000 feet, the famous 14ers. That's more than any other state, more than Alaska, more than even the Swiss Alps. These peaks don't just dominate the landscape, they define it. They create their own weather systems. Their snowmelt feeds rivers that travel thousands of miles to the sea. But here's what most people don't know. Beyond those mountains, Colorado drops into something completely unexpected, the Colorado Plateau. Red rock country. Ancient canyon lands where the earth has been carved by wind and water for 300 million years. And then, and this is the part that stops people dead in their tracks, there are the Great Sand Dunes. North America's tallest sand dunes, rising 750 feet straight up from the floor of the San Luis Valley, desert sand dunes. In Colorado, surrounded by snow-capped mountains. No, I'm not making this up. Colorado isn't a state, it's a continent compressed into a rectangle. If your blood runs even slightly adventurous, Colorado will make it boil. This is, without question, the outdoor adventure capital of the United States, and I would argue, one of the top 5 adventure destinations on the entire planet. Let's start with what Colorado is most famous for: skiing. Vail, Aspen, Breckenridge, Telluride, Steamboat Springs. These aren't just ski resorts, they are legends, icons, places where Olympic champions train and movie stars disappear for the winter. The snow in Colorado is legendary for a reason. It's dry, light, powder so fine and so deep that skiers call it Colorado champagne powder. On a fresh powder day in Vail, and there are many, you feel like you're floating. Not skiing, floating, but Colorado's adventure scene explodes long after the snow melts. White water rafting on the Arkansas River, one of the most challenging, most exhilarating stretches of whitewater in North America. Class 4 and Class 5 rapids that will snap you fully, completely awake in ways that 3 espressos never could. Rock climbing at El Dorado Canyon, just outside Boulder, where sheer sandstone walls rise hundreds of feet above a rushing creek, and climbers move up those walls like slow-motion spiders, fingers gripping holds barely the width of a coin. Mountain biking on trails that drop thousands of feet through aspen forests, across high alpine meadows, and along the edges of cliffs with drops that will make your stomach do things your stomach was not designed to do. 14er hiking. Remember those 53 peaks above 14,000 feet? People climb them, voluntarily, before sunrise, in temperatures that dip below freezing even in July. And when they reach the summit, and the sun explodes over the horizon, and the entire state stretches out below them like a living map, they understand instantly and completely why humans have been drawn to mountains since the beginning of time. Hot air ballooning over the San Luis Valley. Paragliding above Telluride. Ice climbing frozen waterfalls near Ouray, a town so dramatic, so perfectly perched in a box canyon that locals call it the Switzerland of America. In Colorado, the outdoors isn't a weekend hobby. It's a way of life. It's woven into the DNA of the people who live here and everyone who visits. You want to know something magical about Colorado? The wildlife here acts like it owns the place, because in many ways it does. Every fall, and I mean every fall without exception, and the elk rut transforms the Rocky Mountain National Park into something from another world. Hundreds of massive bull elk, with antlers spreading 6 feet wide, bugle across the valleys. That sound, and a haunting, primeval screech that echoes off the mountains, is one of the most spine-tingling sounds in all of nature. People drive from across America just to hear it, to see it, to feel it reverberating in their chest on a cold October morning. Black bears roam Colorado's forests in the thousands. Bighorn sheep, a Colorado state animal. Scale cliff faces with a casual confidence that makes professional rock climbers feel deeply inadequate. Golden eagles ride thermal currents over the canyons. Mountain lions, rarely seen but always present, move through the twilight forests like living shadows. And down on the eastern plains, prairie dog towns stretch for miles. Entire underground cities of tiny, squeaking architects who have built their civilization long before ours arrived. Colorado has fought hard to protect this wildlife. Rocky Mountain National Park, established in 1915, protects over 415 square miles of high alpine wilderness. The state has over 40 state parks, 11 national parks and monuments, and more protected wilderness than almost any other state in the lower 48. Here, nature is not background scenery. It is the main event. But Colorado is not just mountains and wilderness. It is people. Remarkable, complicated, fascinating people. Colorado is one of the most educated states in America. It consistently ranks in the top 5 for percentage of residents with college degrees. Boulder, the quirky, brilliant university town at the foot of the Flatirons, has been called one of the smartest cities in the world. It's home to Nobel laureates, astronauts, leading tech innovators, and more yoga studios per block than perhaps anywhere outside of India. The Hispanic heritage of Colorado runs deep and rich, especially in the San Luis Valley, which has been continuously inhabited by Spanish-speaking communities since the 1800s. The oldest town in Colorado, San Luis, was established in 1851. Its culture, Its food, its traditions are a living connection to colonial, New Spain that predates Colorado's statehood by 25 years. Colorado's music scene? Surprisingly, breathtakingly vibrant. Denver's jazz heritage is legendary. The city was a major stop on the bebop circuit in the 1940s and 50s. Today, the Telluride Bluegrass Festival draws musicians and fans from around the world to a narrow mountain valley for 4 days of music that feels somehow sacred. And the food, oh, the food. Green chile, particularly the Hatch and Pueblo. Varieties is a religion in Colorado. Put it on everything: eggs, burritos, burgers, pizza. Coloradans will look at you blankly if you don't understand why green chili on a breakfast burrito at 7 a.m. is one of life's great pleasures. The farm-to-table movement didn't just pass through Colorado. It set up permanent residence, the state's farmers markets, its artisan food producers, its celebrated restaurants. They reflect a culture that values authenticity, quality, and the land that produces it. Let's talk about Denver, because most people's image of this city is outdated, wildly outdated. Yes, Denver sits exactly 1 mile above sea level, 5,280 feet, to be precise. There's even a row of seats at Coors Field, painted purple to mark the exact elevation. But Denver is so much more than a number. This is a city that has reinvented itself completely in the last 2 decades. And the result? One of the most exciting, most livable, and most surprisingly cosmopolitan cities in the entire United States. Denver's lower downtown, Alodo, is a triumph of urban revitalization. Old red brick warehouses that once held railroad cargo now house Michelin-starred restaurants, craft breweries, jazz clubs, and art galleries. Speaking of breweries, Denver has more craft breweries per capita than almost any other American city. Beer here isn't just a drink, it's a religion. Denver's art scene, world class. The Denver Art Museum holds one of the largest Native American art collections on the planet. The Clifford Still Museum houses 94% of a single, modern artist's lifetime work, a collection so rare, so complete, it's nearly unparalleled anywhere in the world. And then there's Red Rocks. If you have never been to Red Rocks Amphitheater, let me paint you a picture. Imagine a natural concert venue formed by two 300-foot sandstone monoliths jutting out of the earth. The stage sits between them, open to the sky. The seats carved into the hillside. No roof, no walls. Just you, the music, the stars, and the Rocky Mountains stretching endlessly behind the performers. The Beatles played here. Jimi Hendrix played here. U2's iconic live album was recorded here. Artists beg to perform at Red Rocks, not because of the money, but because of the feeling. Because there is nowhere else on earth quite like it. Denver is also at the center of one of America's most fascinating social experiments, and the legalization of recreational cannabis in 2012 made Colorado a global headline and a template for debate about freedom, regulation, and public policy that continues to this day. Whatever your view on that debate, the city it's set in deserves far more attention than the controversy. Long before Europeans ever set foot in Colorado, this land was home. For thousands of years, the ancestral Puebloans, a civilization of remarkable sophistication, built their world here. They didn't just live on this land. They carved themselves into it. At Mesa Verde in southwestern Colorado, you can still see it today. Entire cities built into the sides of cliffs. Multi-story stone structures perched on sheer rock faces, hundreds of feet above the canyon floor. These weren't primitive shelters. These were architectural masterpieces, planned, engineered with kivas for ceremony. Storage rooms for food and water systems that defy the technology of their time. Then around 1300 AD, they vanished, left everything behind. To this day, historians and archaeologists debate why. Drought, conflict, a calling to move south. The mystery of Mesa Verde is one of the great unsolved stories of human history. And it's right here, in Colorado. Fast forward to the 1800s. The land was now home to the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Ute, and dozens of other nations who had lived here for generations. Then gold. In 1858, gold was discovered near present-day Denver, and within months a tidal wave of humanity poured westward. The cry of Pikes Peak or bust echoed from Missouri to the Missouri River. Over 100,000 settlers arrived in less than a year. Mining camps exploded into towns overnight. Towns exploded into cities. Denver went from nothing to a bustling frontier metropolis in under a decade. But with the gold rush came darkness. In November 1864, at a place called Sand Creek, one of the most tragic and shameful events in American history unfolded. U.S. cavalry troops attacked a peaceful Cheyenne and Arapaho village, killing hundreds and mostly women, children, and the elderly. The Sand Creek massacre is a wound in Colorado's history that has never fully healed. A reminder that the story of this beautiful land is not only one of glory, but also of grief. Colorado became the 38th state in 1876, just in time for America's centennial, earning it the proud nickname the Centennial State. And from that moment forward, Colorado has never stopped growing, never stopped surprising, and never stopped stunning the world. There is a moment, and if you've been to Colorado, you know the one, when you stop, breathing hard, legs burning, and you look out, and the world just falls away. Every deadline, every worry, every noise that filled your head an hour ago, gone, dissolved like snow in morning sun. In that moment, something becomes very clear. We are small, beautifully, mercifully small, and this planet is so much bigger, so much wilder, so much more glorious than the four walls we spend most of our lives inside. Colorado doesn't just show you beauty, it reminds you of it. It reaches into your chest and says, look, just look. How lucky are you to be alive in a world that contains this? Whether you come for the skiing or the history, the culture or the wildlife, the food, the music, or simply the sky, and which at altitude is a blue so deep it almost brings you to tears. Colorado will change you, quietly, permanently, in the best possible way. The Centennial State, the highest state, go before the snows recede too far. Before life gets so loud you forget the sound of wind through a pine forest at 12,000 feet. Go, the mountains aren't waiting, they're calling. If this journey moved you, if somewhere in these mountains, these meadows, these wide open skies, you felt something stir, don't let it end here. Hit subscribe, because there are 100 more places like this waiting for you. 100 more moments the world forgot to put on the map. We'll find them together.